Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Potspoon Kitchen. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. In today's recipe, we are going to be making four amazing healthy breads, including one for the persons who enjoy a rich old school style bread. We're starting off by making our carrot bread that is super soft, and some of these ingredients you can find them right in the very backyard. I am using 3/4 cup of carrots. This is two small carrots, and I'm adding it to my blender. You can also finely grate these carrots. And to this, I am adding 3/4 cups of water. And this is ready. So let's add this to our bread mixture. We have our carrots already, and in the bowl I'm going in with 1 teaspoon of sugar because the carrots already have its own sweetness. Half cup of lukewarm water. Sweeten it so that the yeast could feed as we've been doing it before. And I'm going to just sprinkle the yeast on top and allow them to activate. It only looks a little bit different because we don't have any milk in it. But I'm going to add the carrot mixture. 3 tablespoons of softened butter. Salt. 2.5 cups of bread flour. And we're going to go in with our hands and mix. You want to mix the butter in. And if it's too soft, you could dust it with a sprinkle of flour as you're mixing it. Because I believe this has a little bit too much water. I'm going to make the adjustments in the recipe, but I'm going to mix in the butter before I add an extra 1/4 cup of flour. I'm adding an extra 1/4 cup of flour. And let's knead it until it's nice and smooth. We're going to the third stage of dough development. This is going to be a very soft bread. So we have our carrot completed, and we're going to put this in a bowl and we're going to allow it to rise for 1 hour. Consuming carrots are especially good for supporting eye health, boosts your immune system, and promotes good healthy skin. Consuming carrot bread adds to a very healthy breakfast. Very airy and jiggly and light. The dough is very soft. When making bread, it helps a lot when you prepare it over the weekend, especially when you have different variety to choose from during the week. This especially works best when you have a large family, that everyone can have their choice of sandwich each week. And folks, remember to share the channel and check out some more of my other recipe videos. Add some more dusting flour. So let's roll out our bread. Amazing. I'm going to roll it up tightly. Pinch. And I'm going to push in the sides. We're gonna allow this to proof for about half an hour, and then we're gonna pop it in the oven and bake it at 300 until it's nice and golden. This carrot bread was very soft and very delicious, and the overall flavor was mind-blowing. And folks, you definitely need to try this recipe. So let's move on to making our pumpkin bread. This is definitely the bread to make to get picky eaters to eat healthy. We are about to make our second bread, which is a pumpkin bread, and in this cup I have 3/4 cup of pumpkin, and to this I'm going to add about half cup of water. The rest I will use in making the dough. Blend it until nice and smooth. And let's go ahead and add our flour. We're doing this a little bit different from the first one. We're adding 2 and 3/4 cup of bread flour, brown sugar, 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of yeast, half teaspoon of salt. To the pumpkin I'm adding 3 tablespoons of olive oil. That's going to be my wet base. And if I need any more water other than this, I will add, and I will add the changes in the description box in the recipe. Toss our ingredients, create a little well. Then you want to pour in pumpkin and the olive oil. You can also use softened butter or melted butter. It's very moist, but you can also use about 2 tablespoons of water, and this should be good. We're gonna mix this as we did the first bread until it's very smooth, the third stage of dough development. We're gonna now leave this to rest in a bowl. Allow the dough to sit for 1 hour. Pumpkin provides skin health and protection and has potassium for refueling. Pumpkin also boosts your mood and helps you sleep better. Let's roll out our pumpkin bread. Roll it back into a bowl as I did all the other breads. Dust in flour. And let's roll it out. And even if you see little chips of pumpkin is very healthy, so you won't really lose. Let's roll it into a tight roll, log. Pinch. And the color is absolutely beautiful. And that's the one thing I like about pumpkin bread. It can look so appetizing. Well, let me know in the comments what you like to eat your pumpkin bread with. Because for me, the very first thing is some nice butter or some guava jam. Let's add this to our pan. We're going to leave it to proof for about half an hour. And we're going to pop it in the oven. And just like the others, we're going to bake this at 300 degrees Fahrenheit until it's nice and golden. Let's sample our pumpkin bread. We have just concluded another fabulous bread recipe. Very soft, very moist, very healthy, and super light. Comment below and let me know if you think you're going to try this recipe. What would you eat this with? Up next, we are going to be making one of my all-time favorite breads. We are on our third bread recipe. We are going to be making Baji, aka Kalaloo bread. To start off, I'm going to bloom the yeast. I have a teaspoon of yeast. And I'm going to feed it just a little bit of sugar because yeast eats sugar to wake up, and that's how they rise. If you don't have any sweetness when you're using yeast as a leavening agent, it will not react because the yeast needs to feed to wake up. And I'm using 1/4 cup of lukewarm milk. While our sleeping yeast are waking up, we're going to prepare our Baji. For the Baji bread, aka Jamaican Kalaloo, I have about a cup of Baji that I froze, and this is what we're going to be using to make our spinach bread. I'm going to add this to my blender. And Baji is very, very good and loads of health benefits. To this I'm adding 3/4 cup of water, and we're going to blend this up. And this is ready. The yeast have begun to wake up, and I'm going in with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you can use 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, but preferably 3. The rest of my sugar, which was about 1 tablespoon. The last thing I'm going to add is salt. The salt can kill the yeast. Baji mixture. We're adding 2.5 cups of bread flour, and yes, you can use all-purpose flour. And I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to go in with my hand and begin to mix my bread. And this is one bread. This is one bread. So it looks a little bit small, but once it begins to rise, we're going to be on point. I'm going to mix this until the gluten is formed. This is the second stage of dough development. When it's rough like this and sticky, the first stage is the picking up stage where you're picking up all the flour. And the third stage is when it gets nice and smooth, and I will show you in a few seconds. I'm speeding it up. It has since been 5 minutes, and this is what it looks like. It's now in the third stage of dough development. It picks up all the flour in my hands, and I have a nice smooth dough. So we're going to place this in a bowl, cover it over, and allow it to rise for about 1 hour. Baji is rich in antioxidants, boosts immunity, has vitamin C in abundance. It's very light and very airy, and I think this might just be my most favorite one. and we're gonna roll this in our pan. And guys, remember to subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which is your favorite bread at the end of the video. I'm making it wide enough for my pan, and I love to bake bread on Sunday evenings just in time for Monday. You know that feeling when you get up on Monday morning and the bread is fresh and you're going to have breakfast to go to school? That's my favorite right there. I'm going to be making one loaf, pinch the bottom. I'm just going to tuck the sides in. Let's add it in our pan, and we're going to allow this to rise 3/4 the way up. Next bread, and now let's sample our Baji, aka Jamaican callaloo bread. I must say that the flavor of this bread is very different from a regular spinach bread. The Baji, aka Jamaican callaloo, makes an amazing flavor bread. You definitely have to try this recipe. And if this bread is too light for you, I have something old school coming up. We are going to be making an old school coconut bread that is high in fat, very delicious, and super buttery, but not forgetting to mention very soft. We are on our last bread, and let's go in with our bread flour. And this bread is just a little bit different because I have here 1/4 cup of freshly grated coconut, not the one that you blended and squeezed, but this is freshly grated because it's a specific texture that I'm looking for. 3 tablespoons of softened butter, 1 teaspoon of sugar, half teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm using 2 leavening agents here. This is half teaspoon of yeast. I am adding half teaspoon of salt, and we're going to be mixing this with some freshly squeezed coconut milk. I blended this and I threw away the husk because I didn't want that texture in the bread, but I wanted the grated texture that has been finely grated. Break up all the butter, and let's start by adding our coconut milk. I know of long ago when they made bread, like our grandparents, they used coconut milk, and those bread used to really hit differently. The consistency for this bread is not going to be soft. It's going to be something similar to a coconut bake. Someone in the comments reminded me of this bread. I want to give shout out to that person, although I can't remember who the person is. But I will check it out and leave the name on the screen. I'm going to knead this by hand for about 8 minutes, and the bowl is already clean. I just have to continue. Coconut offers several health benefits and is a good source of fiber management, copper, iron, which contributes to various bodily functions like metabolism, I'm going to make
digestion,
this kind
and
of
immune
old school.
support.
We're not going to use a baking pan to bake it, but we're going to use a pizza tray, or you can use a tower. Let's roll up our coconut. bread. Pinch it, tuck it under, and I'm just gonna squeeze the sides and shape them not too straight. Give them a nice roll. I want it to have a nice rustic look. This doesn't need to rise, so we're gonna pop it in the oven and bake it at high temperature, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, until it's nice and golden. The only problem I had with this bread was that I was eating it way too much. I was going in slice by slice because this is the most amazing bread you would ever try. If you enjoyed making bread with me today, give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know which bread you enjoyed best. Thank you for baking with me today. See you on another good day for another great recipe.